Hey guys, what's going on? Man, thanks for watching. And yeah, just talking through some chord shapes today in the key of D. I had a question in my comments section. I'm always so grateful when you guys write in and comment and have questions. So please keep it up. Love that. It gives me an idea of where you're at and what you'd like to get out of this. I had a question about the key of D and how I might approach playing in the key of D, which chord shapes, that kind of thing. So I was just gonna talk through some of that. This could apply probably for more than one key, some of these principles, but I wanted to show you kind of how like just my initial kind of approach to like if I had to play a song in the key of D, what I would do. So the first thought I had is I don't want to play all the notes all the time. So rhythm playing for me is always about what stays in tune, what's going to translate in the mix, how to get some like power and some you want your chords to feel nice and strong, but like you don't want to always play all the notes because not all that information is helpful. So let me show you. So for example, if I'm playing in the key of D, I'm probably most likely going to play D, G, and B. Just like that. And I'm probably not going to play. Now, there are times where you want a part to speak, right? You want that E string in there to play like a part, like a... You might want to play a part that needs that. But if I'm playing chords, oftentimes I'm just playing D, G, and B, and sometimes even the A underneath it. Because that's okay to have in there sometimes depending on the chord progression and the song, but sometimes it sounds big to hit that big like as opposed to... Can you hear the difference? It gets like that low end like whoa underneath it. It almost makes it's kind of like a fake way of playing in drop D if you don't have that low E dropped down to D. Okay, so first thoughts, I'm playing D like this. I'm playing my G like this. And I'm gonna play, I'm not playing all the notes, like I'm not playing this and I'm not playing that. There's a lot of information in a chord like that. I mean, that's how you learn guitar. You learn that chord, right? But if I'm playing in the key of D and I want to hit power chords or something, I'm playing like D, G. I'm just playing the E string, the D string, the G string, and the B string. So D. My A, I'm probably going to play barred for these two chords, for these two strings right here, D and G. And I'm going to have my D string probably still in there. Or I might get rid of, if you don't want the sus, sometimes you don't want that you could just drop it, and you may not want that, so I would literally just play, or, and if I'm playing that chord, I'm playing A, and then the B string is being muted by my like the finger, the skin of my finger, and I'm letting the E string ring out in this case. So, like if I'm playing a bunch of chords in a song, all right, let's pretend we're in a song and I'm playing D shapes. So you can get through all those chords easier without having to do all those chord changes, you know, playing all the strings. You can kind of stay here. And then for the B minor, you can even go like this. Can you see that chord? Now, obviously you can play the full B minor. And sometimes you need that color, like the real B minor. But often if I'm playing the key of B, I'll either play just these without the B string at all. You could open up the B. So what I'm showing you is I'm just eliminating notes to make it easier to play through the chords. See how quickly you can kind of go through all those if you're muting a lot of that extra information. And it's going to cut through. It's going to be a little bit more, you know, could be more kind of like a more powerful kind of sound if you've got that. All right, so that's like how I would approach those chords. At the beginning of the video, I was playing these chord shapes that they work in a lot of keys, but I was just going to show you how I would use that in the key of D. And those chord shapes are like these 2-note shapes, like this. So you're playing the E string and the G string only. And what I'm doing is I'm basically borrowing from the bar chord, right? So if that's my G bar chord, I'm just taking those 2 notes out of it and eliminating all the rest of it. In the key of D, which one nice thing here is you can let the D string ring out with that chord. If you wanted to, you could go like. So if you wanted to have like a picking part where you're moving around a little bit with like a finger pattern, you could do like a. Does that make sense? You could use the D to play, right? All right, so back to those shapes. This would be my G. This would be my A. Again, I'm just borrowing from that bar chord. A, my B minor would be this. Now, your B minor is this chord, right? So I'm just going, and then my D was up here. That's the 10th fret on the E string, G string on the 11th, and it's basically this chord, right? That's a D over F sharp. I love this chord. D over F sharp, right? And all you gotta do is play this. Just those 2 notes. All right, so that's one little section that we could do in the key of D. So you've got your big power chords. And then you've also got your pretty chords, like these little 2-note things. That could be like an intro or a verse, maybe like a down bridge kind of thing where you could play, you can find some ways to play like a really pretty like pattern up here. Say your bridge is in, you're in the key of D, but your bridge is 6-4-1-5. It's B minor, G, D, A. Let's pretend that's the progression. So I would maybe drop down and be like, so you see how you could use that? And then if that's too difficult to kind of get that bass note in there, because you might have like a keyboard player or a bass player or something kind of holding down the low end, you could just play the open D and then just this G string. And you can play that entire same progression we just did with just those 2 notes. So you don't have to play that note if that becomes too muddy, or maybe it's too much low end information. If you got like a big bass or synth or something in there. So we want to find our spot in the mix, right? As guitar players, you want to find your place. So yeah, that's kind of my like initial first 2 thoughts in the key of D. The other thing you could do is obviously use a capo. So one way that I like to play would be like, this may throw it out of tune because, but you could play capo 2 and play C shapes. Right? So you could have all this pretty stuff like. So that'd be another way I'd play in the key of D. And what that opens up is, it opens up this, you've got the G string capoed here. So you could play, right? Or even use the E string open. So that's another way you could use key of D shapes, is just capo up and play in C. And then you've got a whole bunch of different chords you could play. And then I like being able to just hang out right here. So you've got C, F, G, and that's another way you could play and not have to move a ton of moving. Then you've got like your C over E, like your 1/3 chord, or D over F sharp in the old key. Or you could play. One thing that's great in the key of C, in here, when you're in the key of D, but the C shapes, is you've got this open G string and you can play around like. last thought, if you're in, or last thought in standard tuning, if you're up here on capo 7, which most of us electric guitar players don't want to play capo 7 because it throws the whole thing out of tune. But if you want to visualize your shapes, the capo I think is helpful for seeing like. So the nice thing about playing with the capos, and I've spent a lot of time using capos, is it teaches you where your shapes are on the fretboard. So no judgment on the capos, okay? This is a friendly place. Okay, so if you're playing G shapes up here, right? So what I'm trying to show you is I'm visualizing the fretboard here. I'm visualizing these shapes. So when I take the capo off, I can use my my hand as my capo essentially. So like my D, my G, and this could be like a D over F sharp, or just your D. And if you're visualizing your bar chords, you could play your D up here. You know, you're just eliminating all this and playing only the last, the highest 3 strings. And then you're, right? Does that make sense? So you've got your, pretend you've got your capo on, and you're playing a G chord, like this. You can play, or your bar chord, right? So, if I'm playing a song, and we want to be like really kind of a rocking, loud thing, I might slide up here and be like. So that shows you that whole little section right there. You could live in that. You could play like a whole song just in this little. Let's see. You could play a whole song up in this little shape. When you get to that A chord, you know, if you don't like this chord, I often play this. It's like, let's see, that's 9, 10, and 12. So you can play, so your chords are like this. So that's like, that. So that's like another way that when I'm thinking through the key of D, I'm down here, I'm thinking through these shapes here, right? You can get a lot of work done just right there in that one little section. And it's just kind of like you would do with a capo on. Right? And then, you've got your shapes up there. Okay, so that's how I would approach it. In the key of D standard with a little bit of capo options, but also just visualizing the fretboard, finding your shapes, and eliminating some notes using the way you mute some of the strings and eliminate some of the strings. Okay, so I hope that's helpful for that key. But please. Please keep the questions coming and let me know kind of what other thoughts you had, if you had any more clarifying thoughts or questions for this key or other keys. Today I was just using this little Vox AC15 down here in the room. No mic on it or anything, just at a good little bedroom volume level here with a couple pedals. All right, thanks for tuning in. And yeah, see you soon.